Welcome to Worst Generation Otaku's Anime Reviews and Recommendations. In this episode, we are going to see about the best anime of 2023 in our opinion, which was Pluto. We had a lot of really good anime coming in last year, especially special mention goes to Vinland Saga Season 2, but still Pluto goes to the top of the list. Pluto is a manga, it's a story written by Naoki Urasawa, who is a manga artist who has been sketching manga from the age of 4. You would have known about his notable works like Monster and 20th Century Boys. So Pluto is a story where he wrote it during the same period where he wrote Monster. So a lot of characters and faces are very similar that appear in both. Pluto deals with a utopian society where a super advanced robot called Mont Blanc is being murdered, and an inspector called Gesicht is sent to go invest the scene of the crime. With the truths that he uncovers, the plot gets darker, and with each truth, we are sitting with our jaws wide open. Yes, that's how Pluto is. It's a brilliant crime thriller about a utopian society where robots are involved. So, Pluto deals with a society where humans and robots coexist with each other. Robots are built with uh, metals like zirconium and a lot of really good advancements in science and technology. Robots are made to look and feel like humans to the extent where they try feeling like sentient beings, where they start developing emotions. Yes, especially one called hatred, which Pluto talks about. I do not want to spoil much of it, but get into it. It's an amazing world where nations like Germany, Persia, and are all involved, and a war is also involved. When you watch Pluto, you'll understand what I mean. So, there is one incident that I must quote. Do not listen to this part of it if you are very sensitive about spoilers. But there is one part of it which I'd like to tell, which comes in the first episode of Pluto itself. There is a musician called Duncan who is a very old school kind of a person who has his tune in a piano, who's very famous for his tunes. A super robot called North Number 2 is sent to go protect him. And in that process, North Number 2 finds out that he regrets war and doesn't want to take part in the war, any war anymore. And he just wants to stay with Duncan and start learning music. Duncan, on the other hand, is a very old school person who does not believe in robots making music or artificial intelligence of that sort. He goes to the extent of calling North Number 2 just a piece of metal crap and someone who can't make music, who does not have emotions. You're just playing notes. The notes don't have feel. Well, with someone who has had the similar view, I can relate with what Duncan says. But in the end, North's number 2 is being confronted by a storm, and he goes to fight someone in the storm where Duncan realizes that he actually likes North number 2 and he wants him to come back and just sit with him and learn music. To quote, North number 2 is the one who found out the last three notes of his masterpiece of music, which he had lost with his memories during childhood. So, this is just a pinch of how the characters are developed and designed. To quote this one incident in just one episode and make you feel very deep about it, phenomenal writing by Naoki Urasawa himself. Likewise, there are characters like Dr. Ochano Mizu, who develops the robots. Dr. Tenma, yes, there is also a Dr. Tenma in this, who develops Atom. Atom is our favorite robot, apart from Gesish, the main character. You see a lot of people, you see a lot of humans, you see a lot of robots expressing their emotions. And wow, the dialogues written here are very good, especially the ones about how memories written in robots are engraved in them for life, and how humans are gifted to forget what they don't need to remember. That's a whole new world of dialogues out there. Marvelous. Pluto is an anime where Naoki Urasawa's old style of art is adapted with a little bit of new style of animation. The flow of animation is very good. The animation quality being spoken about. Let's not leave out the music. It's got brilliant music out there, especially the piece where North number 2 plays the tune composed by Duncan, including the last few notes that he had forgotten. It's brilliant. The fights between robots are marvelous. So there are a lot of action sequences in here. where robots fight with each other as well. Those are all picturized very well, and the animation is pretty top notch if you ask me. While converting an art form from its source material into an anime, a lot of people go wrong, a lot of people do a little bit of justice, but I feel like Pluto does more than justice by bringing out the tune of Duncan into life. Yes, that's a very defining aspect of what Pluto is and how it translated into the Netflix adaptation. So the tune composed by Duncan, where the last few notes were found by North number two. Yes, I've mentioned this a few times because it hits that hard. That tune is really good. That adds more value to how the anime translates to you more than the manga. And there are people who are purists who believe in the manga supremacy. I'm one of them, saying some manga are better than the anime. For example, if you take One Piece, I would go so far as to saying the manga is like 100 times better than the anime that's going on out there. But Pluto, I feel, does more than justice to the manga conversion in terms of that, in terms of fights, in terms of how voice actors bring out the life into each character, especially Atom. Oh, and an interesting point, the character Atom that we see is none other than Astro Boy. Yes, it is a story about Astro Boy. Consider it to be a prequel to Astro Boy and watch it. If you want to watch an anime which is just 8 episodes, an hour each, Pluto is right up your alley, and Pluto is by far the best anime of 2023 so far. Go check it out. It's out there on Netflix. Signing off from you is Distorted Dikshit, aka Redbeard, aka Dikshit Sayan. See you. Do not